Kurt have my son.
Dexter New Blood Episode 8, Unfair Game, is here, and for the most part, it is setting the stage for the final 2 episodes of the season. That said, there were some very inconspicuous details that are leading to some interesting theories from me, so be sure to stick around for those. First, I'm going to break this episode down into 3 parts and recap the events with Dexter and Elric, Angela's investigation, and Kurt and Harrison. And after the recap, as always, I'll move into my theories, and I would love to hear your theories as well, so be sure to share those down below in the comments. Kicking things off with Dexter and Elric. The episode begins with Dexter bound in the back of Elric's truck, and he's dreaming about coming home to find Harrison having killed the boys from Moose Creek. He wakes up to hear Elric on the phone with Kurt discussing them having to take care of Dexter and Harrison. Dexter attacks from the back seat, causing Elric to lose control and wreck his vehicle. Dexter breaks free of his zip ties and sees Elric out of the truck with a rifle. This prompts Dexter to run, but he can't get far away before Elric shoots him in the leg. He continues to run around in the woods for a while until eventually realizing his footprints in the snow are making it easy to be tracked. He reaches a stream and hides behind a tree to try to throw Elric off his trail, but that does not work. Dexter heads to the abandoned summer camp and leaves a trail of blood to lure Elric there. Elric arrives and is taken by surprise when Dexter attacks him through a super cool mirror-shattering jump. He learns that Harrison was taken to Kurt's cabin, and then he kills Elric. Dexter takes Elric's phone and texts Kurt that all is well and he'll be there soon. Next up in this episode, we see Angela getting closer and closer to finding out who Dexter really is. Speaking of getting closer, we are getting incredibly close to our goal of 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It would help me a ton and mean a lot to me if you would click that subscribe button, especially if you're liking my videos. Jumping back to Angela's storyline, Logan reveals to her that Dexter had beat up the drug dealer Miles that sold drugs to Harrison. After hearing this, she goes to the bar and finds Miles, and he explains that Dexter had jumped him and poked him in the neck with a needle or something. Then when the cops showed up, Dexter started beating him up. Angela later talks to Logan about Jasper Hodge and learns that he OD'd about an hour before the police got there. Logan explains that Miles couldn't have tipped off Jasper because he was still in custody when Jasper died. Angela asks how long Dexter was in custody and learns he was only at the station for about an hour, giving him plenty of time to get to Jasper before the police. Angela goes to see the medical examiner that performed the autopsy on Jasper, and he tells her that Jasper definitely overdosed. Angela takes a closer look and finds that Jasper had a similar injection in his neck as Miles, leading her to believe that Dexter was responsible for Jasper's death. Back at Angela's, she appears to have linked Dexter to the Bay Harbor Butcher with some superior Googling and very convenient writing. We'll talk more about this in the theories section. Moving on to Harrison and Kurt, which is where we spent most of our time this episode. Early on, Kurt calls Harrison and tells him he's going to come pick him up because he's got a surprise for him. We later see Kurt taking Harrison into the school and says he's got an old key and that it feels good to be bad sometimes. And Harrison agrees. Kurt takes Harrison to batting practice in an effort to further develop a father-son bond. Harrison then takes several shots to the ribs from the pitching machine, and this pain is causing him to have flashbacks of disagreements with Dexter and the bad things he's done to other people. Kurt then takes Harrison out to his cabin to eat some deer meat and drink some whiskey. Kurt continues to manipulate Harrison and works hard to lead Harrison to believe he could have been a better dad than Dexter. Harrison explains to Kurt that he came to Iron Lake for answers, but he thinks he was also looking for connection with his father. He says they don't get each other because they are too different, and that Dexter is always holding something back from him. Kurt says to Harrison, "If you were my son, I would have never walked out on you." Very ironically, Kurt then leaves the room to put on murder clothes and come back to tell Harrison that he wishes things could have worked out better. He commands Harrison to get up and get out. Once outside, Kurt tells Harrison to run, just as he does with all of his female victims. As Harrison's running away, he hears a gunshot, and when he realizes he hasn't been shot, he looks back to see Dexter heading toward the cabin in Elric's truck. Dexter narrowly misses Kurt in the vehicle, and Kurt gets up and runs away. Even though Kurt's essentially power walking, he somehow disappears in the open field. Then Dexter and Harrison leave the cabin, and on the drive home, Dexter says there's so much he should have told Harrison sooner, and begins to tell him about his upbringing, Harry, and the code. After saying that he's going to tell Harrison everything, Harrison embraces Dexter. Moving on to the theories. So first of all, Dexter left Elric in the abandoned summer camp with a knife in his chest, so I'm sure he's going to need to take care of that. In a recent video, I said that this picture from episode 9 looks like Logan and Audrey near a fire. I'm guessing Dexter and possibly Harrison set the summer camp ablaze in an effort to cover up the murder. Also, in the official trailer for the show, we see 2 people throwing a body into the incinerator. I've believed for a while that this is Dexter and Harrison, and now I think it's possible we'll see this in episode 9 when they get rid of Elric's body. On to the situation with Angela. There's a lot of people getting preemptively upset at the idea that Angela is going to take Dexter down for being the Bay Harbor Butcher. With 2 episodes left, I really don't think that's where we're going. I mean, if it is, yeah, that's going to be nearly as bad as the season 8 ending. What I think is going to happen is that she will suspect Dexter of being the Bay Harbor Butcher, but before she's ever able to do anything about it, she's going to die. Why do I think this? First off, timing. Again, there's just not enough time left to get all of that to happen over the next 2 episodes. Secondly, as the vision of Deb said earlier in the season, anyone close to Dexter ends up hurt or dead. So I do believe Angela's going to die, I'm just not exactly sure at this point who's going to kill her. A large part of me believes Kurt is going to kill her before Dexter and Harrison are able to take him down. Finally, something that hit me earlier as I was reflecting on this episode was the fact that Kurt was wearing his embalming gear when he was on the phone with Elric at the beginning of the episode. I don't believe he would have been wearing that stuff just to get ready for Harrison and Dexter. I believe he was actively working on a recent kill. Who, you might ask? Well, I believe it was Molly Park, and here's why. In episode 7, we saw Kurt staring Molly down outside the tavern after she met with Angela. He's obviously upset about her poking around in Iron Lake and probably feels that she's a major contributor to his recent arrest. He clearly wants her out of the picture, and I believe he took action. Additionally, Molly didn't make an appearance in this episode, and after checking IMDb, she's also not in the next episode, but she does make an appearance in episode 10. I believe her appearance in that final episode will be as a corpse in one of Kurt's display cases. I kind of love this theory, but I do feel like it's a little bit of a wild one, so let me know what your thoughts are on this theory down in the comments. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. We'll see you after episode 9.